Did they change your mind?
What we had was we had a respectful, we had a very informative, and it was a very good conversation that we had, and as a starting of a good relationship. It really was.
That was Democratic Senator Joe Manchin, who would not say his mind was changed after his meeting today with civil rights leaders. The West Virginia Democrat described a pleasant conversation despite growing frustrations with his stonewalling of his own chamber's voting rights bill, known as the For the People Act. Now, Manchin has called for an elusive bipartisan solution and made it clear he favors the narrower House legislation known as the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. Now, his personal preferences aren't swaying his fellow Democrats. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said the party will proceed with both bills, writing in a letter to colleagues that they are not substitutes for one another. Joining us now are the president of National Action Network and the host of MSNBC's Politics Nation, the Reverend Al Sharpton, and the president and CEO of the National Urban League, Mark Morial. It's good to see you both. And Reverend Al, we'll start with you. What was your main message for the senator today, and did you accomplish what you set out to do?
Well, I think that this meeting was set up before the op-ed piece that Senator Manchin wrote saying he was against the Senate Bill 1. It was set up by Mr. Morial and the National Urban League because we wanted to talk about both the Voting Rights Bill, which is Senate Bill 1, and, of course, the John Lewis Bill coming through the House, and the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. We talked about all three. And clearly, the senator did not commit that he was going to change his now public view on Senate Bill 1. We challenged that. Melanie Campbell challenged him, gave him the racist history of the filibuster and how we should deal around that. And Mr. Morial laid out the importance of our vote. And I brought up about the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act and the importance of the vote and how people had died both with police brutality and with fighting for the right to vote. He did commit that he is going to support the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act.
Got it. And Mark Morial, did you get the sense that there's any indication or any movement that Manchin would be willing to make in the coming weeks and months? I mean, he's written an op-ed. He has pretty much articulated where he stands on this issue. He says this is the beginning of a relationship. Do you think that future engagement would move the needle with him at all?
Well, we're committed to future engagement, and we're committed to moving the needle. And it was a constructive conversation, a productive conversation. And the first conversation by us with Joe Manchin as the leading civil rights organizations in this nation, we went in understanding that there are deep differences on how to get to what I think may be some shared goals. And we didn't walk in with any expectation that this one meeting would resolve or if you will, identify a pathway forward. But we are going to meet with him again. We are not going to give up. We're not going to give in on the idea, the notion, the necessity of both S1, the For the People Act, the Voting Rights Act known as the John Lewis Bill, and the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. And I would add, Jeff, that these bills, all three of them and their component parts, have wide support amongst the American people, significant polling on both sides of the aisle, in all regions of the country, amongst all races and age groups in the United States support these bills. So while there's this discussion of bipartisanship in the Senate of the United States, what's clear is that there's a bipartisan coalition of the American people that wants to see these things happen.
And I'm told that Senator Mitch McConnell at his weekly press conference just now, as we've been speaking, he said that he does not support the John Lewis Voting Rights Act bill. So that suggests to me, Reverend Al, that if you have Democrats who don't support blowing up the filibuster, and the only Republican that I know of is Lisa Murkowski, who says she supports the reauthorization of the Voting Rights Act, that there's no way really to get to 60 votes on this individual piece of legislation should it come to the Senate chamber. So what then is the backup plan?
Well, that is why I think it's important that Senator Manchin said he wants to keep talking. He'll be back in touch before the week is out, because the backup plan then has to be laid to the Democrats, including Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema, that you either going to have to go and get some Republicans, since you insist on bipartisanship, and it clearly seems like they do not, on the Republican side, want to be bipartisan, or you're going to have to agree, at least in these 2 or 3 bills, to do what you've done in other singular bills, and that is say, for this, we're going for the majority vote, which if all 50 Democrats are there and you break the tie with Vice President Harris, you can get them through. We've done this before without changing the filibuster. I personally, at National Action Network, wants to see the filibuster getting away with. But if you can't do that, can you agree that these bills be put aside and voted on majority vote, which has happened?
And Mark Morial,
Jeff,
final question.
I want to say this, Jeff. This is important because you just shared with us what Mitch McConnell said this morning. This is a betrayal and a reversal by Mitch McConnell, who has supported the extension of the Voting Rights Act in the past and has prided himself in conversations with me that he's never cast a vote against a major civil rights bill. Now, this is an important development, and I believe that your reporter should ask Senator McConnell, why is it now, at this stage in his career, with the challenges in the country, that he will reverse course, having supported the Voting Rights Act extension the last time it came up, why he would change course and not support it. Now, you see, this is what's important. He is sending a signal that he's not interested in bipartisanship. He's not interested in working, if you will, to find solutions to difficult problems. So we're going to, this is not easy, Jeff. This is a tough sledding in the United States Senate, but the civil rights leadership of the nation, I know Reverend Al shares this, we're not going to take a back seat in this work and in this fight. We're going to meet, we're going to discuss, we're going to press our case with anyone, anywhere, at any time, because it is that crucial for the future of this country.
Absolutely. Mark Morial is president and CEO of the National Urban League. And the Reverend Al Sharpton, of course, is the president of the National Action Network and host of Politics Nation here on MSNBC. My deep thanks to the both of you.